Hi, welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial thing on basically getting started with Euro Truck Simulator. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is James and I'm currently running a series on a modded save of Euro Truck Simulator where I am using a mod that basically adds in realistic economy. But for this, you don't need to worry about that. Because today I'm going to be showing you on how to start up a bog standard vanilla game. Basically, this is the perfect video for people who are brand new to the game and have never touched it before, or you know what, know the game already and just kind of want to refresh on how to start a brand new profile, because it is nice from time to time to go back, restart everything from scratch and have a clean slate. So, to start off with, you need to create a user profile. So, because I already have profiles on here, and in fact you can see I have 3 profiles, I've got to go to manage profiles and new profile. I can't remember exactly how it is when you first download the game, whether it just brings you to the screen. If it just brings you to the screen, then cool, you're basically caught up. At this point, choose your company name. Let's just call this company Genius James 2 because, yeah, why not? And then you could choose a picture. It could be any picture. There we go. So let's go. There is a picture that I quite like using, which I can't see straight away. So you know what? Let's just pick a random one of these. I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's go him. Company logo. Again, doesn't really matter. Preferred truck design though matters slightly. In the sense of, whatever you choose as your preferred truck design, you will have one of their garages unlocked to you right from the start of the game. Meaning, you'll be able to buy one of the trucks from said company even before you discover one of their stores. So normally, I would say go for Mercedes-Benz. They are really nice trucks, relatively cheap. And they run really well. The new Actros kind of led me to mid to late game on my main save for a long time. If you're wanting to get something else though, I would recommend the MAN. They're pretty good. I've not touched Scania's. Volvos are great, especially with the Globetrotter series. Renaults wouldn't really recommend from my personal experience. They're a little bit sluggish. Although I never really upgraded my Renault past beginner game, so it might just be I had a bad experience with that, and DAFs and Ivencos I've never driven. So, you know, I don't know absolutely everything with this game, but I know enough to hopefully get you all started. I'm gonna go with the Mercedes-Benz because I quite like them. Let's call this tutorial. I can't be bothered to, you know, give caps or anything because let's just create. Hit create. There you go. So here you are on the launch pad. To get into the game, well, first off, I'm going to double check that I have no mods on there because I don't want mods on here. As you can see, there's no mods in the queue, so that is good. So to get started, hit continue game. Now, because this is the first time that you will have ever used this, then you're going to come up with this kind of control method. If you have no Xbox controller or anything like that, you'd pick either keyboard or mouse steering. If you have an Xbox controller, I would recommend using that. Or even better, if you have a wheel controller or something like that, you can't really beat that. So I actually have a Logitech 920. I'm not going to use that for this video. For this video, I'm going to set up with an Xbox controller. So I've actually only got my Xbox controller plugged in at the moment, so the game won't detect the Logitech. So, if you're using an Xbox controller, I recommend doing it on simple automatic. It's just so much easier that way. The game is configured using default setup described below. The default setup most of the time is perfectly fine, but you want to double check that, so double check that your left stick is that. The left stick does actually also control the mouse as well, which is nice. You've got a camera on the right stick, accelerating and braking. We don't have anything on clutch, but we don't need to worry about clutch because this is simple automatic. You're not actually doing anything with the gears, so all is fine. In fact, even on real automatic, you're not touching the gears, so all is good there. Let's finish the wizard, and we're going to get put straight into our first job. Actually, no, we're not. Before we go into our first job, we're going to have to choose where we want our headquarters to be. Now, if you want somewhere central, which, to be fair, most people recommend having a central location, choose somewhere in Germany. However, if you want to start off, if you live in Europe and you want to start off in your own in your own country, that is fine. So I quite like actually starting off in the UK. That means straight away I'm already following road laws that I already know from the real world. I'm driving on the left-hand side of the road, where the rest of Europe is right-hand side of the road. Recommendation is for most people though is to start in Germany. It's pretty central. It gives you access to pretty much everywhere really easily, and yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to start off in London though, just purely because I much prefer driving on the left-hand side of the road, so that makes far more sense to me. I'm not gonna go through this tutorial. If you want to follow the tutorial yourself, then go ahead. But you're gonna get thrown into your first job. The tutorial will basically run you through basics like moving your camera, checking. Just skip all that. We don't really need that information at the moment. It's basically saying, "Hey, welcome to your truck simulator." You don't need it. So here we are. This is our truck. We can move around. You can use, if you're using an Xbox controller, you can use either your mouse to move your head around or the right stick. Right stick is a little bit smoother than Xbox controller. Than the mouse. I cannot talk today. English is not my friend. But basics that you will need to know right off the bat. F5 is your map. F6 is your job details. F7 your damage. F8 is any messages that you may have received, and F9 is to do with chat in multiplayer, so not relevant. F1 will pause the game, and it will also tell you about toggling side mirrors. I generally have the passenger side mirror up at all times, save me having to look over to the left side of the truck. And F3 will toggle the route advisor. So some players will actually play like this and not have a route advisor up at all. However, for beginners, have your passenger side mirror up and have your route advisor up as well. So you've got all the information you need on screen. If you need your driver side mirror, for most of the trucks in the game, the driver side mirror is in view. And bearing in mind that the aspect ratio of the monitor that I'm using is not quite as wide as 16:9, and most people's monitors are 16:9, so we'll have a slightly wider view than me, and you can see the driver side mirror pretty easily. Now, if you're starting off in a country that drives on the right-hand side of the road, you'll be sat on the left side of the truck and everything's the same. It's just the passenger side mirror and the route advisor would be on the right-hand side of the screen and the driver side mirror would be on the left side. That's the only difference. Obviously, you'd be driving on the right-hand side of the road as well. So, to pull away, if you're, again, using Xbox controller, that's what this is kind of aimed at. Just hold down your right trigger. There you go, you pull away really easy, and you can use your left trigger to steer. Now, it looks like to get out of here, I've got to come around this way. Now, a few more controls that you need to know about that are set up by default. Your bumpers are your indicators. Up on the D-pad is your different camera views. There you go. Left on D-pad is your lights. I'd recommend having your lights on all of the time, because the penalties in this game for not having your lights is harsh, and there are no penalties for having your lights on all the time. Left trigger's brake. Right on the D-pad is your wipers. So if you hit it once, that puts the wipers into an automatic mode, depending on what truck you're in. So if you're in a truck that has automatic wipers, then right once on the D-pad will activate that for you. That way, if it starts raining, you don't need to worry about your wipers. If you're in a truck that doesn't support that, then hitting right once will just start your wipers up. So you know then that you need to worry about your lights, your wipers. Down on the D-pad brings up a map. You can move the map about with the right stick. You move your mouse about with the left stick. Zoom in and out with the triggers. Easy as that. It's all relatively easy. Hit B to go back to here. Pause menu is your standard start button, and in fact the F1 screen is from I don't actually know what this button is called, but the little button with the two squares on it is how you also bring up this menu if you don't want to use the keyboard. So let's get going. First job you will ever do is a very short job. It will most probably remain, in fact, no, it will remain in the city that you start off in. So, one thing you want to be careful of is you're following your basic road laws for whatever country you're in. And to be honest, the majority of the time, as long as you're staying sensible, you'll be okay. So there we go, the lights have just turned green. Just got to be careful with that car. It's been a while since I've done this on an Xbox controller, so I'm a little bit rusty. I normally drive using the Logitech wheel, so I'm slightly out of practice. But if you see, it's relatively easy just to follow what you're supposed to be doing. It looks like we're actually going to be delivering to that Volvo place just up there. So that's pretty good. So if we just stop here, indicate in, there we go, and just finish the job. So next up we have 3 different parking options. If you're in a rush or you really just don't want to be parking it at all, you can hit sorry, I'm in a hurry now. You won't get any XP for that. So I would not really recommend doing that early game. Early game, you want to be getting as much XP as possible so you can level up and start getting skill points as fast as possible. So playing it safe is really easy. You're going to be driving forwards into your parking spot. What most people would say to do is hit where do you need it? However, if you are brand new to this game, you might not feel confident with reversing your truck. And I'm going to save reversing a truck for a later day. So for now, I'm just going to hit play it safe. So to do that, I've just got to get the truck from where I am now into basically that white mark on the ground over there. So as you can see, I've got my wheel hard lock over to the right. Take it. You got to take it slowly. You don't want to rush this. If you rush this, you're more likely to make a mistake. There we go. You got to remember that these things can turn really quite tight. So it might feel like I'm on the grass here, but I'm actually still on the pavement. There we go. I'm a little bit too far over to the left, so just pull it across. There we go. Oh, I am on the grass there. And you just stop it. You know when you're in the right place because the parking bay that you're in goes green. Let's just go into third person so I can show you. Now, this is pretty crappy parking. I'm not going to lie. This is awful. So I can leave it as that, and I will leave it as that because I'm too lazy to sort it out. That is technically right. To finish the job, you detach your trailer. So, as it says on the route advisor, for me, because this is set up with an Xbox controller, I can hit either T on my keyboard or hit Y on the controller. It's just that, it'll decouple the trailer, and that is your job done. This is the job completion screen. So, on it has information such as distance driven, in this case, less than a mile. Time taken 16 minutes, so it's taken that long in-game time. Bearing in mind, the in-game time is a hell of a lot faster than real-life time, so when you're starting to see times like 3 or 4 hours, don't worry, you've not actually spent 3 or 4 hours in the game. You've only spent a few minutes in the game. Time is just a lot faster. But it's taken me 16 minutes to do that 1,000 yards because I've been talking. Fuel consumed, for me, it's defaulted to litres, so that's 1.1 litres. Not bad. Could have been a little bit better if I, wasn't talking and I hadn't left my engine on. You can turn your engine off by just pressing down on the right controller. Your horn is pressing down on the. I said controller. Right, engine off. Press down on the right stick, and your horn is left stick. Here you got your base reward. Your base reward is basically what you're going to get on any job. So that will go up the higher level you are. You'll actually start getting level bonuses. And because I did park that manually myself, I got 15 XP. That would have been 40 XP should I have done the reversing park. But that is your first job done. You don't need to worry about anything else. Next, the game will basically show you, here is your headquarters. It's pretty basic because you haven't got anything yet. You haven't got a truck, so you can't actually go there yet. If I try driving, you cannot move freely in the world because you don't have a truck. So, that's fine. You're not going to be able to get a truck straight away. And that is perfectly fine. No one is going to be able to get a truck after their first job. I mean, look how much money I've got. I've only got 2,361 euros. The game defaults to euros. You can change that. In fact, because I am fussy, I am going to change that. So, let's go into gameplay. Here is your settings. If you want to change your currency, I believe it's all the way down here. Regional settings, language, English, preset. Obviously, this is all going to be slightly customized because I have multiple profiles on here. But I'm going to change that currency from euro to Great British Pounds or GBP. There we go. And that's me happy. So I have £1,989. There is a little bit of conversion going on. The game stores the information as euros, and then it will just do a slight conversion to whatever currency you're in. I don't know what the conversion rate is. It isn't updated live, thankfully. And as you can see, we got a little bit of an email here saying brand new Mercedes-Benz for sale in Plymouth. So, technically speaking, we can straight away look at getting either a Mercedes-Benz or a Volvo. Mercedes-Benz because that's what we chose when we picked our preferred truck type, and the Volvo because that's what we discovered when we drove to Volvo. Right, we got no money though, and we haven't got access to the bank to borrow money. Not recommending that you do that anyway, but to start getting more money, you hit job market is down here, and hit quick job. From here, you can see a great big list of jobs, and I hit the wrong button now. I meant to hit the trigger. I hit the bumper instead. And you can see that list isn't massive, but it's a decent amount there. Now, I think by default it shows you by price, which is a good way to do it. However, I like showing by price per distance. And the reason being, if you're sorting by price, you can see that okay, this job from London to Birmingham will get £2,722. But that is only making £19.73 per mile, which in this game isn't a lot. Now, we saw by price per distance, okay, this job from London to Felixstowe is only getting £2,389, but it is making nearly £23 per mile, which is a lot better than that £19 per mile. So, okay, you're doing fewer miles. This job to Birmingham is only 117 miles, but this job to Felixstowe is 91 miles. So actually, is quicker to run. So I'm going to take that job. I'm actually going to run this job as well. So you're going to get this little bit of a loading screen. It's slightly annoying. I've been dumped in a Volvo. There's me dissing Volvos right from the start, and I've been dumped in one. So to get started, same as before. You start your truck up. There we go. Pretty self-explanatory. Just be careful not to hit anything on your way out. There we go. Luckily, this is quite a large space that it's dumped us in. I'm actually going to make sure my lights are on. There we go. And this time I'm indicating right. You may see that I just managed to slam on my brakes and come to a complete stop with ease. That's the one thing about this. I've not gone over your simulation settings. You can actually make the brakes a lot less effective. Come on, traffic. Let me out. Thank you. You're not going to let me out, are you? All right. It's letting me out, but it's a really tight spot there. The traffic in this game is not particularly nice. Now, because I'm turning right at this roundabout, I'm sticking to the right-hand lane. I'm basically following your standard traffic law. Oh, dear. We nearly hit into that car behind me because I was not careful and I steered too much. There we go. Now, a lot of people will say don't bother with indicating. I'm going to say do bother because every so often, the cars in this game actually do pay attention to your indicators and will give way to you. As we just saw on that junction when we were trying to get out of that job site. So, here we go. Let's just get it up to speed, being careful. I'm a little bit on the wobbly side. I've not driven using an Xbox controller for a while. We just got to be careful not to speed because if we caught going more than, I believe, 3 miles an hour above the speed limit, you will get fined. Trust me, it is not worth it. Not worth it at all. Especially early game. Early game, you're basically fighting to keep hold of all of the money that you can get. So you don't want to be losing it for, well, any reason really. So, hey look, it's another road. Very nice. So you just want to keep it going, trying to stay roughly in the center of your lane. Now, a good way to tell if your truck is in the center of the lane is if your camera is about three quarters of the way to either the left or the right, depending on what side of the truck you're on. So if you see here, I am aiming for roughly 3/4 of the way over to the right of the lane. Now, I know that I have got to move over to the right lane in a moment because of the junction coming up. You can see that sign where the left lane is going off to the left. It is actually going to disappear like that. And now we've actually got a wider lane. For this turn, you want to slow it down a fair amount. Maybe not that much. I did slow down a little bit too much. It is possible to tip your truck if you're going round corners too fast. So you've got to be careful about that. It's like driving in real life. You've got to be careful. You don't want to be going round corners too quickly because then you could fly off the road. Now, if you're using an Xbox controller, you're not likely to be sliding your truck anytime soon. You can if you're using a Logitech wheel because you can force the steering around quicker. But if you're using an Xbox controller, your steering is going to be limited to what the truck is capable of doing at any time. So as you see on the TripAdvisor, the little green arrows are pointing over to the right. They're saying basically get out of that left lane because that left lane is going off the route that you're wanting to be on. And it is absolutely right. That left lane is peeling off there. Now, as we're just getting up to speed, we're going to have to move over to the new left lane that is just appearing here from where they're merging because we are actually coming off at this junction. Just like driving in the real world, you've got to be thinking ahead, planning every move, making sure that you're not going to be doing anything that you're not supposed to. So I know, because I can see there, well, both on the TripAdvisor and out of the windscreen, that there is a sharp corner. So I'm going to start slowing down just a little bit early. Maybe not too much. I mean, these trucks are relatively stable using base settings. You can make them far more tippy if you really wanted. However, if you're brand new to the game, I would not recommend doing that. If you're new to the game, you're wanting to take things slowly. If you feel like you're going too fast for a corner, slow down. Even if you then slow down too much, that really doesn't matter at this point in time. The whole point of slowing down is so that you're feeling more comfortable. I'm feeling comfortable going as fast as this because I've been playing this game a lot. Now, I can see up ahead that I am going to need to move over to the middle lane. I am wobbling out of my lane a little bit more than I probably should, and that's because I don't tend to drive using an Xbox controller. So it does matter slightly what you choose to control the game with. It is possible to drive using a keyboard mouse. It's not particularly easy to control it using just a keyboard and mouse. That's not a great control method. But it is possible. Most people that I know in real life have access to an Xbox controller, and I've said to them that I would really recommend using that to control the game with. It makes life a lot easier than keyboard mouse because you can be more careful with your turns. I'm barely touching the stick, and I'm able to go around the corner. I'm pushing the stick maybe 25, maybe 30% of the way across. Really not that far. Now it looks like I am going to need the right lane again because we're going to be losing that left lane. There we go. So yeah, playing this with an Xbox controller is definitely way more than acceptable. Most people will control it that way. The only people that will really have access to a control wheel such as the Logitech 920 that I have will be people that either play this game a lot or play other driving simulators a lot of the time. In which case, they're not necessarily going to be starting out a new profile all too often. I start out new profiles because, I do YouTube. So if I'm, showing how to start off a new game, then I'll start a new profile. Another good reason to be starting a new profile would be if you're modding the game. A lot of the time, if you're modding the game, you're going to want to start off on a new profile, so you're not going to be wrecking your vanilla save. Also, it just feels slightly wrong adding in a mod that affects the economy and continuing on with your old save, especially if said economy mod makes the economy far harsher, such as the realistic economy. But here we are. We're just 30 minutes from where we're dropping off. I can't remember exactly how much faster the in-game time actually is. I just know it is a lot faster than in real life. So what you're wanting to do, again, sharp corner coming up, slow it down. Corner like this, I'd recommend 30 mile an hour might do it. I normally take these at about 20. Yeah, so if you see just how much that truck is tipping. Now, that's not too much of an issue. You can have some tip. What you don't want to do is have the truck have wheels coming off the ground. That is not good. When you get the wheels coming off the ground, that's when you know that your truck is very likely to tip over. And should that happen, you're going to have to call for help, and that costs more money. More money that in the early game you just don't have. Your first few jobs are going to basically be getting you your first lot of money. So, as you can see here, I am speeding slightly. I'm only 1 mile an hour above the limit, so that's not too much of an issue. I just take my finger off the trigger. What's nice though about the Xbox controllers is the triggers are pressure sensitive. Oh, I need to slow that right down to 30. That could have been an issue. If there was a police car behind me, I would have got fined for that. Luckily, there wasn't a police car behind me. However, they are saying that there are speed checks along here, so I'm just looking out for a camera. There might not be a visible camera, I don't know. Can't see one. I am wondering if that's just a random event, because I didn't think there was roadworks there. I'm going a little bit fast, but there we go. We're now into Felixstowe. Doesn't take long. We have got a little bit of a jam here. So we just slow this down gently. Just put in a very, very small amount of pressure on your brakes. That guy is just thundering through when he really shouldn't be, and indicating off just because it's sensible to do that kind of a thing. The easiest way to make money in this game is to drive sensibly. It really is. If you're driving erratically, or you're speeding too much, or you just don't feel like you've got control of the vehicle, then you're not going to be making money in this game. There we go. So let's pull this in here and stop on this little mark. There we are. And it's the same again. So we can skip the parking, play it safe, pull straight in, or reverse it in with the where do you need it. I'm going to play it safe again because I'm not going to go over reversing in this video. There we go. So all we got to do is pull the truck across and try and line ourselves up with the middle of this. I think I'm pretty much there. In fact, I am a little bit over to the right. In fact, there we go. So that counts. It is as easy as that to get yourself started. Next time, I'm going to be showing you basically getting your own truck. I am going to break one rule that I'm constantly saying. And I am going to take out a loan. Don't get me wrong. Taking out a loan isn't horrendous. It's just not the recommended thing to do because you then end up having to pay back money for the loan. But if you're wanting to get your own truck quickly, then we could do that. However, if you're wanting to not have to take out a loan, so you're not paying interest and that kind of thing, keep doing these quick jobs by going into job market and hitting quick job. That will get you up to a decent amount of money. If we look into, okay, let's have a look at Mercedes-Benz. Let's visit their store for a standard Actros, which is what I would recommend getting to begin with, or maybe a new Actros. You're looking at 98,000, 100,000 pounds. What's that in euros? Let's check that in euros because a lot of people will be using euros. So let's scroll down here, change this. I've gone too far. Change this back to euro. I am using the left stick on the Xbox controller. And visit selected dealer. So that's 116 euros or 119 euros. So you're looking about saving up 125, maybe 130 euros. So you've got a little bit of spare cash. So, yeah. If you can save up that much by doing your quick jobs, just by driving sensibly, that is good. Anyway, I am going to end this video here. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please feel free to like, subscribe, click the notification bell to make sure you're going to be getting notifications on this channel. As I said earlier, I am going to be continuing on the Realistic Economy series. So if you're interested in that, head on over there. I'll put a link to that playlist in this video's description. If you're wanting more tips and tricks to do with this game, let me know in the comments down below. Always useful to see what people want to see. And for now, thank you very much for watching. I shall hope to see you next time. Goodbye.